Well, hello, coaches. How are you? I want to make a quick video since we didn't get to meet last month because of weather. Looks like we're not going to meet this month because of weather. But I did want to share with you guys. It's both a map prep sort of information, but also I've been trying to build these new things into our curriculum throughout the year. So these aren't just going to be for map prep, although teachers, your area teachers, and biology teachers should be using these to kind of prepare their students for math. But I've blended these resources throughout the curriculum from sixth grade onward. So students and teachers should be using this stuff a lot now. And I just wanted you guys to see them, see how it's organized. These are things that you should be seeing in the classroom. Great resources for teachers. So I'll kind of show you where these things are located. I'm going to start on the middle school side, but a lot of it is shared with high school. So I'm just going to make one video. But I wanted to start here. First thing, I think you guys have probably heard about these new Missouri testlets. So those for science, we have 15 mini tests, and they're about 5 to 7 questions each. And they all sort of have, let me just go ahead and open one and show you. They all have great data, passages, different question types. So they really model what the map test is supposed to look like. I've created something similar for biology. They'll be releasing hopefully high school versions for next year. But this is what this looks like. So you could actually sit your students down and take this like you would a test. You'll notice the questions got lots of text, data, images. It's very map-like constructed response. So this is a good way for teachers to start practicing with their students to prepare them for the map test. Teachers have access to the full document of all 15 of them, so they can just be doing them back to back once a week or something like that. I've made suggestions to them about how to use it, but also I've broken them up into individual testlets. So you can see down here at the bottom, there's at least one test. In the 8th grade, they get kind of doubled up for each unit. And that goes down into 7th and 6th grade as well. So theoretically, starting next year, our 6th grade students could be practicing these testlets, 7th graders and 8th graders. So you can see how down the line, students will have been exposed to these more frequently. And I've tried to place these testlets. Notice they're not in order, but the ideas and standards that were being addressed on this test fit pretty well in this unit. And so that's where I put it as like a good spot for students to take after they've learned it. So testlets are really cool. That'll be a great use for teachers to prepare for the map test, but also in the future, that's another great assessment they can use just throughout their regular teaching. Biology, so they don't have the testlets yet for high school, but what I did do is I took our practice test and I broke it up into categories. So these are all the questions from our practice test that address these standards. And the same thing here. So these are all the questions from the practice test that address these standards. So it's kind of like they could do mini tests throughout the year. Or if you're preparing for the biology EOC, teachers could look at, hey, we're really poor at the LS1. Now I can use this test as a review. Or I've assessed my students. These students can take this test. These students can take this one. Now they have sort of options at them. It's smaller than the full test. Or teachers could do the full test as a practice, however they want to handle that. But I try to do something similar for biology as well. And I'll probably get around to doing this for chemistry and physics first because there is a physical science practice test. Just haven't done that yet. Now, and these are, so what I'm on right now is the scope and sequence. I'll jump into the curriculum maps in a second because anything that's accessible here on the scope and sequence is also accessible in our curriculum map. So as teachers are going through their pacing, it's there as well as like a reminder for like, and here it is again. So it's not just located here, but this is where I can showcase all of this. I think I've also shared with you guys and teachers, these are performance assessments, and these are really cool. Let me open one up. So teachers can open up the document here, and then they have their answer key, grading rubric, and all of that. And then I've highlighted exactly what standard this performance assessment addresses. So teachers can do these throughout the year, but also if they're moving into map prep, I could jump anywhere 6th grade through 8th grade, and I can grab one of these to address a specific standard, do some practice on it. They all sort of have a very similar format where there is lots of text, data, videos, graphs, different question types. So that way, this was very map-like in that aspect. So I really like it. Let me see if this has what I need to show you guys, or I might jump to another one. Here's an example. I'll show this, a constructive response question. So based off some images and data, all the constructive response questions, if you click the little document there, will pop up a student-facing guided rubric. So a student knows exactly how they're being graded on their constructive response question. So those are added in. This one doesn't have the other thing that I want to show you guys. But what I've done with these, and it took a bit of work, but I've made these so that these can be converted into a digital format or a printout format. So the easy one, any video, there's a link or a QR code. So if you're doing it digital, just click the link, scan the QR code if you're in print, and you can access the video. But the other aspect that I had to go through is a lot of these have drop-down questions. So these type of questions here, you would drop down to choose your option. I've created this and I've got an instructional video. I'll show you where that's at, but teachers can essentially just go through and check mark these. I'll show you one, and it'll change it from drop downs into just a selection. Or if they click the X, it keeps the drop down. So they can easily convert between either doing a digital or a physical one. So let's put all those back. So those performance assessments, I've shown teachers this. I'm going to show them again at this next PD for that, how to convert. But for you guys, if you want the video for that, just down here, I have a watch this video that kind of showcases how to use that and convert. It's very easy steps, but you can see there's plenty of them. There's even unit performance assessment. So the unit assessments cover multiple standards, but it's the same sort of format. So more than they would ever have to use. All right, so let's jump into the actual curriculum map to showcase some of the other updates. The performance assessments is just 6-8. We don't have those for high school. The rest of the stuff is going to be for both of you, middle school and high school. And I'm also going to jump into one of the curriculum maps for high school just to show differences in some of our newer resources. All right. So like I said, you can find all of these resources elsewhere. So here are the map testlets again, located at the top, and I'm pretty sure they're down at the bottom as well. But one of the biggest updates I just did was I've added Nearpod. I've integrated in with, this is grades 6 through 11. So where you'll find that is here in this column now. So as teachers are doing their pacing, they have access to Nearpod material. And as they look at this column, they're going to find different types of Nearpod resources. Some are vocabulary. These are kind of rap style songs about certain content. They have lessons. Lessons are whole PowerPoints. These are very interactive. So when the teacher launches it, it goes on the student's screen. And as the teacher progresses the slide, the student slides progress. If I ask a question, students can answer. It'll show up. So very interactive PowerPoints, or the teacher can switch them to student mode and the students can just move through them as an assignment as well. These are pre-made. I'll show you a couple examples here in a second. They also have videos. These are like Edpuzzle where the video plays and then it'll pause. Here's a question. Continue playing. So there's a good way. Again, the teacher can broadcast that or they can push it on their student devices. They can do it on their own. There's also activities. I'll find one of those. Here's an activity. Those are typically going to be sort of vocab builders or there's some really good graphics. So I've highlighted within the curriculum, like, hey, here are some good resources that you could use at this time, but there's actually more available than what I've just listed out. And so if they access this Nearpod folder, I'll go ahead and open this up. This will take them directly to the folder that houses those resources for that concept. I'll show you this. The first time you are going to have to sign in with Clever, or if you're not signed in, just sign in with Clever. And if you need to go back and hit that link again, you can do that. But once you've signed in, it keeps you signed in for a long while. Then you can just go through and access everything. But this is probably going to take me to the home screen, which just gives me a chance to show you the folder organization system. So I'll jump right back to where I was, quarter 3. So on Nearpod, you have all of your lessons that you've created, but there's also the district library. So if you go to the district library, this is where it was going to take you. You can see 6 through 12 science. I've organized almost 1,000 different resources. We were in 8th grade, Unit 3. Notice the color matches, and we are doing this first concept. So this is where now if I click the link, now that I'm logged in, it would take me here. And so you can see, oh, I've got all these different resources available to me. These would be examples of the videos. There's the vocabulary. These are the lessons. Everything's there and available. This is all throughout 6th through 11th grade, pre-made resources at teachers' disposal. So I'm really hopeful that teachers will start to utilize Nearpod a lot more. Going up to the high school level, I did the same thing with Nearpod, but high school actually also has access to study.com. And so you can see if it says study, that's a study.com resource. So teachers can also jump in and grab one if they're at the high school level. And study.com, those are videos with pause question points. There's also activities and assessments with those. So lots of resources there. I've highlighted some select ones, but again, they could just jump to the actual study.com course, and there's a whole course for their topic. So like the biology course, it's listed out by standard so that they could use that for review. The other thing, I think this is the last thing I want to show you guys, MoLeap blocks. So we had some MoLeap blocks last year. They've expanded it. There's plenty more now. Teachers would have a link to just access all of them. But again, I want these built out into our curriculum so that they're constantly being used and not just in the last minute review. So each MoLeap block has a PDF. This includes, we'll just open it up, teacher information, and standards, objectives, and all that sort of information. And then it explains to the teacher exactly how you're supposed to do the activity. And down at the bottom, you get towards the actual student facing. There's assessments, data, all those sorts of things. You can see that these are kind of meant for bigger assessments or bigger lessons that might span a couple of days to give students a chance to really interact with the standards. The newer ones even come with a PowerPoint slide so that the teacher has something to kind of utilize as they do it. So I'm not saying that teachers need to do every single part of these, but these could be very useful, broken up, grabbing parts of it, or just using it as is to help students learn very standards-based material. And that's, again, going to be grade 6 all the way up to 11th. They'll be highlighted here based off they're topically aligned. So the standards being addressed in this one are the standards being addressed here. So as you can see, I've put in a lot of work to update a lot of the information on our curriculum maps, not just so that we can do some last minute map prep, but also integrating it all throughout our grade bands so that in the future, these things are being utilized more and more and more for future growth. So that's the kind of new resources I want to show you guys. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea, like, even though we didn't dive deep into it, I didn't train you on it. You're seeing like, there's a lot of resources. I should be seeing high quality stuff, even if you're not a pro teacher, the pre-made stuff, like you don't have to remake the wheel. So I just want to show you guys that. I'd be happy to come in and dive deeper with you. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video, or I'll see you at your school. All right, bye.